Yeah, we used to go out with his mates after school, anytime we could, just kicking a ball about it. And I think that the difference now, even from a young age, a lot of stuff's all structured. And there's more organised events where people come and do stuff like this, which is great. But away from here, there's so much that you can do yourself. And I started playing soccer just because I loved it. Simple. And I feel that if you love something, you engage with it, you get better of it just because you feel it's going to be an important part of your life. I never thought I'll be a professional. I never even bothered about what soccer was going to bring me. So the fun element of it was getting better and playing with my friends and doing that more and more. You're probably out there every day, realistically, playing at school, as I said, playing with your friends, playing games on a weekend. So to your point, it wasn't as specific the training, but it was probably an all-rounded, just go and have fun with it and get to a certain point. I'd say any kids that are the younger element, before you get to 11v11, soccer's just about fun and enjoyment. There's so much emphasis now on, can my son be good at 10 or can my daughter be good at 10? It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Until you start playing 11v11 games and realising how big the field is, understanding the fundamentals, the technical side of the game, the tactical side of it will become massive once you get a little bit older. So all the young guys, just have fun with it. Be out here, be at home playing, be anywhere you can, just fall in love with playing soccer. For the older ones, especially some of the older guys that are here, and the girls, start to really watch the game in a different emphasis. Understand why teams play certain formations, why people play in a certain way. Choose players that play like yourself to focus on and think, can I emulate something that they do in their game that replicates what I do? Find your effectiveness in a game. Because people talk about players, and only if you're effective in a game does it really matter. And that might not be someone who's the most technically gifted players where they can run around people and do all the skills that people think that you need. I'm a prime example of it. I'm not one of them players, but I was dedicated, I was really committed to what I wanted to do, and I was hard to play against. So you could accumulate them together and you get a player who can perform because you do the stuff that other players don't really want to do. And you'll know people in other sports, NFL, NBA, all that, they're not the standout players that everyone looks to, or the DPs or the MVPs, whatever it is, but they're the players that make the team better. The unsung heroes of the teams is what 99% of all Premier League teams are. And 99% of what most club teams in any sport, they're normally made up of guys who are willing to go that extra yard and girls that are willing to go that extra yard for the one standout player. Yeah, you all know the standout players, the Messis, Ronaldos, the Neymars, all them players, but without a good nucleus of a team player with them, they don't get anywhere. Because 10 players for Barcelona used to work hard to give Messi the ball to go and get the rewards for the team. The Man United team that I played in with Ronaldo, we used to work hard to get ball to give it to him for him to go and score a goal. But from that, we'd all get success and rewarded because the team wins collectively at the end of the day. So if you can emphasise being a team player and being an effective team player, you'll have a good chance of going and getting to where you want to go, to colleges and beyond that. Yeah. Anybody else? Question? Yes.
Can you talk about the mentality that you had when you were at Manchester United and what Sir Alex Ferguson told the team and stuff like that?
He just asked me the same question, funnily enough. I'm a big believer that the self-belief that you have to have individually and collectively is the biggest asset that you'll ever have. If someone comes out here and don't really believe that they're good enough to be on the field with that team, or you don't believe that you're good enough to be playing for Manchester United or whoever you're playing for, you're starting off on back foot. I was my biggest self-cheerleader. I always believed I was so good, even when I wasn't. Because there's so many people who will criticise and so many people who want to drag you down because they're jealous or they just don't like you. Yeah, I was my own biggest critic because I always wanted to be the best. but I always, inside myself, I always knew I was good enough to play on any field because I knew what I brought to the game. And like I said before, Manchester United was a club based on the fundamentals, the hard work, the dedication, and a hunger to want to win trophies all the time. They'd win a season, they'd win a Premier League, and they'd go away off season and come back and they'd reinvent themselves to go again. Which takes a lot of work mentally to go, I'll put aside all my success because next year we start afresh and we've got to build again. I think that's a big thing in soccer. You can't rely on what's gone in the past. If you're top scorer in Premier League last season and you come back and you're not fit to start this season, Harry Kane's a prime example. Yeah, had his head turned, he's come back, he's scored 1 goal so far this season. Which for a player who's that good, there's obviously something that's not quite right, either fitness-wise or his mentality is thinking about, Man City, did they really want me, or could I have gone here, could I have gone there? So there's a lot that comes into the process of soccer and sport in general, but having self-belief can never ever change. And that's soccer, that's just in life in general. If you work hard enough, you should know and be confident in yourself that you've got everything covered. That's what we had at Man United. We used to go to every game, respect the opposition, but understanding that we should win. You create your own pressure by how good you are. And you create your own pressure because everyone expects you to win. So when they expect you to win, you've got to go out there and produce. And that's, I think, sometimes the bigger clubs now in England, my old team Leeds, they struggle with it because they're a Premier League club, but not with Premier League mentality players. They struggle to play in the league with the crowd, with the expectation of what comes with it, even though they're good players. They still struggle with the expectation of what used to be. And Manchester United's probably a little bit similar at this moment in time. Anybody else?
Who's your favorite player to play against?
To play against, do you know what? I'm never really worried about playing against anyone. I used to enjoy the challenge of playing against some of the great players. For me, I played against Paolo Maldini, who was someone when I was growing up was captain of AC Milan and captain of Italy. So as a young boy watching Italian football, to play against someone that you've watched on TV is a little bit surreal. And it's something that I always respected every single player that I played against. But when you're on that field, you've got to be there on merit yourself. You can't worry about upsetting people. And I upset a few people when I played. And like I said, you've got to let people know that you're playing. Respect them, but when you're on the same field as someone, you're there for a reason, to do a job, to try and win, to help your team. I grew up, like I say, at Leeds United from being 10 years old. And you probably all know Leeds now just because they're back in Premier League, but historically we were the best club in Europe. In the 1970s, the biggest club in Europe, with the best players. Fans who go and watch now who are 60, 70-year-olds still expect the same team, and that's what the struggle is for the players now. Everyone always expects what used to be. Yeah, your mind goes, oh, why aren't we as good as we were? Well, because we've not got players who are good enough. Good players, but there's a difference in mentality to players who win and the players that are just there competing. Any parents got? Oh, of course.
Who was your favourite player to kind of with on
Probably the best players, the ones that you will stand out, will be the Ronaldos, the Ryan Giggs's, the Paul Scholeses. I was fortunate to play with so many good players throughout my career. And when you play with good players, they make your life easier. And that's what people always say, oh, it must be difficult going to play for Man United. Well, no. It's a lot easier playing for a good team than it is playing for a difficult, like for a team that's struggling. So, I think you guys playing a really good team, you should find the game easy. Yeah, that should always be the challenge. Can I get to the best level that I can possibly get to? And if you go there and you're not quite good enough, at least you've tried. Because people are scared of failure. People are scared of failing, but for me, if you've never tried to get to that level, you'll never know. You can stay underneath that level and go, oh, I'm good in this team, I'm good in this team, I'm a success here, but you've got to fail to really know where your limits are. So So never be scared to push yourself or test yourself. And if we fail, so what? Yeah, soccer's just an opinion that people have. You'll see it, coaches going to teams in Premier League, in MLS, and the best players suddenly not playing. Because that coach does not like the way that that player plays, or it just doesn't suit their system. I'm sure it happens to every single player. Why am I not playing? What can I do to improve? What can I do to play? Sometimes the answer is you can't really do much because the way that the team sets up might not suit how you play. So either go to the coach and say, what do I have to do to get in the team? Do I have to change the way that I play to make sure that I can fit into this squad? Just going through that from now through to your college career, you have plenty of ups and downs, plenty of difficult times where the mentality and your love for football keeps you playing. Because when it's difficult, it's easy to go, I'll change and I'll move to another sport. But we don't want to do that. Yeah? We all love playing soccer. If you can maintain your love for it, that'll give you a great chance to carry on and, like I said, get to where you want it to go. Any parents got any questions? Because you're part of this journey as well, believe you me. Yes, young man.
How old were you when you got signed?
I was signed for Leeds at 10 years old as a schoolboy, and then my first professional contract was when I was 16. I left home at 14 years old to move to a residential camp called Lillishall, which was the National Training Centre. So I left home at 14, left my mum and dad behind, and went to play soccer every day, which I thought was great. And then as I say, I signed for Leeds at 16. I made my debut against Liverpool just after my 17th birthday, and then I played over 500 games in Premier League. Played for England national team, so I enjoyed my career greatly. Yes, young lady.
How did you start liking soccer?
It was probably the complete role reversal to what America is, to be honest. I used to love racing motocross bikes. That was my passion, that's all I wanted to do. That's what my dad did. I started racing BMX when I was 5 years old. I was British champion when I was 8 years old at BMX. The natural transition, as some of you'll probably know, was into motocross. Motocross is expensive, as some of you know as well. Soccer in England's free, but if you can believe that. So, hence at school, soccer's our national sport, everyone plays it. As I said, on the streets, everyone plays it, so one ball between 22 kids is a lot easier than your parents having to buy dirt bikes that are $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a time. So the reason why is because it was so accessible, more than anything else. And I feel that over here, some of the pay-to-play stuff, I'm not too keen on it, if I'm being honest. And I hope over time, the people that are over here and the MLS clubs who should, and the USL clubs who should provide free soccer for the kids who are good enough, hopefully that'll start to change over time. And it's something that I know that a lot of clubs are working on, trying to get 12s, 13s, 14s, 15s fully funded for the best players. Once that starts to happen, I think then you'll see the progression of the US national team. And I think only until that happens will we see the US national team progress into where they were. Good. Yes, young man.
What's the best team you've ever played against? The best team you've ever played?
Ooh, the best team I played against was probably the Brazil national team. I was fortunate enough to play in the first game at the new Wembley against Brazil in 2007, the summer of 2007. So there was Neymar, Kaká, all that crew. So they were probably the best team. And the occasion as well, the opening of the new Wembley, obviously, very historic day. So I was fortunate enough to start that game, and we drew 1-1. Yes.
Who inspired you?
Just myself, really. I think soccer's very strange. If you start off and you build a reputation for yourself as a young player, I feel like you've always got to try and maintain them standards. If you're the best player in your team now, people look to you to go, you need to carry this team. So gradually you just keep improving based on the reputation that you set for yourself. And once you get in there, soccer's addictive like any sport. Once you're good at it, you get your teeth into it, you want to play. And you always gravitate to something that you're good at. You all want to play soccer because you believe that you're good enough to play. And you believe you're good enough to go to the next level. Otherwise, some of you go find another sport that you're better at. That's right. So for me, it was always a case of I set my own standards and I tried to maintain them. And then you build your reputation, you try and maintain them, and then it just becomes a monopoly. Roger Federer, tennis player, yeah? Probably the best player we've ever seen. He was pushed by Djokovic and Nadal. He had to reinvent himself all the time to make sure that he stayed at that level. And there's some great documentaries on Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these shows that you can see where you can really see the mental strength and what drives other sporting people. If you get a chance to watch them, please watch not just soccer but all rounded sports, because some really inspirational people play a lot of other sports as well. Yes. I've played on Leeds, Man United, Newcastle, MK Dons and Notts County. 5 teams and the England national team. So 6 in general. And it's probably a couple too many. I would have liked to stay. I would have liked to have stayed at Leeds all through my career, if I'd have been honest. We got relegated in 2004, which meant I had to leave to go to Man United. And then I left Man United based just because I had a really serious injury, which meant I was never going to. I lost probably 2-3% of what I had previously. And losing 2-3% at that level is a huge margin. Hence why I went to Newcastle for another 5 years and then slowly dropped down the leagues when I started my coaching career. But I loved playing for Notts County, who were a Division 2 team, just as much as when I started playing for Leeds. And that was probably the reason I started, was the reason that I kept playing. As I said at the very start, just because I loved the game. Like you say, you become addicted to it, and when you retire, there's a big void in your life. Hence why I love coming and seeing you guys and trying to just give you a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of understanding, a little bit of realism as to what soccer's like at the very, very highest level. Because it's very intense. People are very passionate about it, as you know, and it's very structured. For any of you guys that are just girls getting into it now, I run a soccer academy down in Orlando where I have 60 students. I have a girl who's in the U17 national team, and she's going to college not next year, well, sorry, not this summer, the summer after. And she's got 17 universities who want to take her a full ride, and they ring me all the time. And the first question they ask is, what's her academics like? The first question. And she's a U17 national team player who everybody knows for her soccer. The first question that they ask, what's her academics like? If your academics aren't right, they'll be not willing to take it into the best schools. So you've got to get both. They've both got to come together to get you to where you want to go. The days of people being good at sport and someone going, come on, we'll do your schoolwork for you and get you through, because I know that it happened, stop it. People need both. They need good students and they need good student athletes to get to the very best schools. Yeah, so if your academics is not on point, you're going to struggle to get where you need to go. I know it's difficult to find time to do schoolwork and your social and your homework, etc. But you've got to find a way to make that possible, to get the best out of you all. Yeah? You're all freezing? One last question then. I was 37 when I retired. 37. Too old or too young. I should have probably retired 5 years before, but I didn't want to stop because I enjoyed it so much. And when you do stop, it becomes difficult. And anybody who does fall out of love with it, for whatever reason, make sure you've got something else to go into. Because although you might think, oh, soccer's just fun and it's recreational, it's this, it's a great social aspect as well of your life, to meet new people. Yeah, go new places, find friends that you'll probably have forever. That's another part of soccer that people don't really think about. They always think about success and failure, but how do we judge that? Someone's success, yeah, going to the very top, playing in Premier League, might be on its same success as someone getting to a Division 3 school. Yeah, think about that. There's different levels. There's different reasons why people play soccer. Not because they want to be a Messi or a Ronaldo, just because they enjoy it. Yeah, just because they enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with coming out here going, I know I'm not the greatest player. Who cares? If you're out here because you enjoy it, we love having you out here. Yep. Good.
Right, guys, well done. Everyone have a good day. Thank you very much. Don't leave any trash here. Go find your soccer ball.
Yeah.
Go find your ball.
Well done, everybody. Well done. I know it was wet and it was cold. Well done.
Thanks, guys. Be careful going into the parking lot, please.
Imagine it just immediately starts making my swear.
More.